Good morning and welcome to the Health E-commerce Friday Live podcast. I'm your host, Amy Kading, Technical Product Manager and Marketing Services Director at Get Healthy. And we're going live every Friday to discuss growing the business of health and wellness. Last week, we talked about significant differences between our platform and Shopify. This week, we're going to pivot a little bit to Amazon and highlight some important differences there, specifically in the health and wellness category. Our special guest this week is Tracy Strout, naturopathic doctor and VP of Innovation and Growth at Get Healthy. Welcome back, Tracy.
Hello, it's good to be back.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Here we are again in our little boxes, so this will be good. This is a good topic to talk about. I like
Yeah, definitely. And just to highlight, we all love Amazon. We use it. I don't know how I'd survive it. My family probably wouldn't have Christmas without Amazon. So just want to reiterate, we're focusing in on, the specific category in the health and wellness space. So just a little disclaimer. We love you, Amazon.
Great. Thank you, Amazon.
Talking about the differences with our platform.
Professionals, yeah.
Exactly. Before we dive in, if anybody has any questions or comments, please drop them in the chat. So let's get started. Tracy, let's start with your experience as a practitioner. What are some of the things you've experienced personally buying for yourself and your patients buying products on Amazon?
Yes. So like you said, I love Amazon too, and I think everybody does what they do, they do really well. I think just one of the issues that I run into a lot as a practitioner is people coming to see me or not coming to see me, and then getting lower quality supplements off of Amazon because they don't know really what they're looking for. And there's just so much out there. Mm-hmm. And then they'll send me a text message and be like, what do I do with this? And depending on the brand, because there are some brands that sell on Amazon, but most of the time, what people are buying off of Amazon, if it's not direct from the brand on there, you don't really know what you're getting. Mm-hmm. And so they'll send me some sort of subpar supplement. And what do I do with it? And my answer is usually walk about 5 feet and throw it in the garbage. And then I'm going to give you a link to what you should be buying, mm-hmm. Something that's higher quality and is going to get you the results and health that you want. So that's probably one of my biggest challenges, with Amazon being in the wellness space. And, kudos to them. They did it really well. But I think what we've tried to do here at Get Healthy is, create a segue for clients and their healthcare professional to offer all of those things that are offered on Amazon, but at a higher quality. So that's really kind of the key point of what we should discuss today is we can do it and the practitioners can do it better and keep people within their knowledge base, and then also, have their people feel safe about shopping their site.
Right. Have any of your patients ever had bad experiences specifically with quality?
Yeah, actually, there was, and I know some of our practitioners that use our Get Healthy stores had submitted a picture. I think you probably have it. This was actually a picture of one of our healthcare professionals. They, had a client that went, or patient that went and shopped off at Amazon to get this particular product. And when it arrived, this was what was in the bottle. So it's very easy, for somebody to go get a cap sealer, some white bottles, a label maker. These things can be done. Not that I'm giving people ideas to go sell on Amazon. What we have to realize is, Amazon's a huge company. There's no way they can vet every seller. So there's no certificate of authenticity of these sellers. You're basically, going by reviews. And I want to stay on that, Amy, come back to that review because you gave me some insight on what reviews really mean. And I was like, hold the phone. So, but what happened was, obviously she shouldn't have taken that because she didn't know what was in that bottle. And that's the big thing. There's a sea of sellers on Amazon. And so consumers beware when you're shopping for something you're going to put in your mouth,
right,
off of a very large platform. It doesn't vet the people that are selling on the platform. And there's no way they could. So again, what we tried to create here at Get Healthy is we have relationships with all of our brands. We have a catalog manager, Lindsay, who does an amazing job vetting these brands, talking to the brands, the CEOs, getting the quality, making sure that they're well-known brands, they're well-respected brands, they're well-guided brands. And that's really what we offer here is a safe place for consumers to shop.
That's a good point, because we have a big catalog as well, thousands and thousands of products, but we can safely say that everything is vetted before it hits the catalog. So it's a really important point.
Yeah. So, but go back to the reviews, Amy, because
Reviews.
I need people to hear this, because I shop based on reviews, and you said
We all do.
companies going away for us. So tell me.
This can be tricky. Reviews this day and age can be pretty tricky for an e-commerce brand. I mean, we all use it. I think it's now like the habit to like read reviews before we even read product descriptions. But it becomes especially muddy for something like supplements. You kind of mentioned it. It's not like buying a spatula off of Amazon. When we buy a spatula, chances are high that if you and I buy the same spatula, we'll probably have like the same end experience with it. So when you're reading a review about a spatula, it's probably fine. But something that's going in your mouth, I'm no doctor, but we all have different chemical compounds. Like your experience can be totally different from mine. So reading your review about something that, for your health that you consume in your body, like there's value to hear about your experience, but there's no way to trust if you're going to have anything similar to that same experience. And so that's one piece in this specific product category. And then reviews as a whole, there's just so much spam out there these days. I mean, I was talking to you the other day about, shopping for furniture, and a brand I look at all the time has always had reviews. And the other day they were gone, which tells me, they're getting to a point where they don't trust it. So they don't want their consumers to, have a experience that causes a spark of mistrust with them. So they're so important, but I think you just have to be really cautious in what you're reading and trying to validate your sources and make sure they're legit reviews as much as possible. But it's also, I think, just goes in the overall research of understanding the product that you're buying, where it's from, and doing your best to make sure it's legit. So not going to discount them totally, just kind of buyer beware. There's a lot of noise, especially on a marketplace like Amazon that is so huge at this point, and there's no way to monitor that kind of volume. So be careful.
Well, that's a great insight, and I never thought of it that way, of like having a different experience at the end of the day. It does put a lot of subjective things on the reviews, because the person taking the product may not be taking it correctly. It might not be the right product for them. And so unfortunately, these wellness companies or brands go on there and they'll be selling all kinds of things, and people are having a bad experience because maybe they're deficient in something else and not necessarily that thing. So that kind of brings me to point number 2, right? Is you lose the ambassador of health that kind of got you to the place of understanding how valuable your health is. So someone like me or another practitioner, we listen to the market, people coming to see me as a client, or just things that are, being searched. And I'm sure you can talk about this, search engines, of what are people looking up online? What are the biggest health trends? And so a client will have an issue. Of course, Dr. Google steps in, and they're on Dr. Google figuring out, and basically by the time they're done reading everything, they have every disease and they're going to die from every single thing. They jump to Amazon because some practitioner that wrote a blog said this is the one thing that you need. They go to Amazon and they search, and they find 50 products that are exactly the same, that say all the same thing, that have all these reviews. And they take that one thing and it doesn't work. And they go back on Amazon and they say, this is the most terrible product I've ever had in my life. It didn't do a darn thing for me. And it's unfortunate because maybe they weren't taking it enough. Maybe they didn't take the right thing for their body. Maybe they didn't take the right amount. And so they circumvent the person that can really help them tailor. Even if I don't deny people, if they send me a product from Amazon and they say, what do you think of this? And I know the brand, I'm okay saying, oh yeah, I like that brand. They're good quality. Just make sure when you buy it again that it's from the brand itself, so you know what you're getting is what you're getting. You want to be
Right.
safe, you want to be a safe shopper. But then they'll say, well, how do I use it? And I'm like, well, you got to follow the label recommendations. I don't know anything about your history. I really can't make a recommendation for you when I don't know you. I don't know your history. I don't know anything about you. So they want to get around me because, they may not want to pay a fee to talk to me,
Mhm.
or they may think they found something, but usually it ends in a poor experience and a poor review. And so
Mhm.
it's unfortunate. It really is. And I think, I keep going back to what we created, but it just fills the gap on all these practitioner problems, right? It's one of those things where, they can come to my site. They know if they buy a product from my site that I put that on my site.
Mhm.
If they buy it and they send me a message that says, hey, I got this from your site, what do I do with it? And I can simply say, well, what I have experienced in the past with people is X, Y, or Z. Let me ask you a few questions. Or do you want to schedule something with me real quick so we can do a quick assessment and a review? And so there's more of a relationship there. I'm honoring the client because they honored me. And what I've seen, and especially during the last 3 years during COVID, was Amazon shooting up in profitability,
Mhm.
healthcare professionals going out of business. So it told me that people were shopping. I mean, it wasn't that people weren't shopping.
Right.
Supplement sales actually were the highest in the history of all supplement sales in March of 2020. So that tells you that when COVID hit, the lockdowns happened, like people went online and were like, I need to get products.
Yes.
But practitioners weren't ready. They didn't have an online store. They didn't know how to do telehealth. And many of them had to close their doors. That's really unfortunate. We lost so many great ambassadors of health, people that could really guide people to health on how to use those products because they weren't ready. So with the Get Healthy store brand, we want practitioners to be ready. There's no time like now to
Right.
have a digital fingerprint, to be online. I understand relationships are key in brick and mortar. I mean, I have supplements behind me. People come to see me, but honestly, the beautiful thing about the digital platform is we can help people all over the place. And if you have a solution, a tool, because we need tools as practitioners, we
Mhm.
can't just wait for people to come see us. We have to get out there and get on social media and talk about health conditions. But then we have to be able to offer them a solution. And I always say 100%, like if I'm going to mail you something, you will never get that product ever. Like it's never going to happen because that's just not me. Like I'm not going to go pack up a box and send it. So when Get Healthy stepped into my life, I was like, this is great. Like I don't have to carry as much product, but I can still sell brands I love and honor them and they get their money, right? I can help people all over the world and I don't have to ship it. It's
Mhm.
fabulous and people can trust my site and stay within my care.
Right.
So I think that's really important to practitioners. And I just don't think that when they're thinking about product, they're worried about looking like, oh, I don't want to look like I'm selling. You're not selling. If you educate somebody and they know the value of what you're saying, they are there to buy. You don't have to sell them anything because they already know the value of their health. So that's a big like mind shift, I think, that we have to get past, as practitioners not wanting to look like they're selling. Trust me, guys,
Mhm.
I'm trying to sell you a supplement. I am. I want you to feel better. And you know what? It works better when you put it in your mouth and swallow it rather than just looking at the bottle. And people going and wasting $500 to $1,000 on supplements that don't work and they don't know how to take. I don't care how much of a discount you got those bottles at, that's still a waste of money in my eyes because you don't know what you're doing with them. So
Yeah.
don't circumvent the healthcare practitioner. Like we can help you step in the gap and help you, with that supplementation and things that you need.
When you mentioned relationship and that engagement piece, you're right. Through digital, we can now reach more people. But John and I have been talking a lot about those pillars and the relationship with your audience. I mean, we have so many tools that you can have that engagement. And I think that leads to kind of a big thing, that difference between us and Amazon is the communication on the back end with your patients. So you mentioned patients will ask, like, how do I take that? Can you kind of dive into how we can tell them directly without them having to even ask that first?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So most of the time people are reaching out to me on like social media, or they'll send me a text or an email. Like there's many different access points, right? So I think that's when we get bombarded all the time. Most of the time what I'll ask is a few strategic questions. I want to know, like, are they on any medications? What are they currently taking? Is their doctor aware that they're doing this? And to make sure that they check with their doctor before starting anything. So that's always important. Um, and then I'll ask for their email so that I can send them directly the products that I want them to take, and exactly how much, how long, and how often. I think that gives them a little bit of reassurance. So our technology, right, the Get Healthy stores, not just on the front end, is it a full shopping experience with multiple wellness categories, just like Amazon. So if you want supplements, you want food, you want anything in the wellness space, we pretty much have it. But on the back end, we can send a recommendation to people directly, which is very convenient, either by email, or I can literally just copy a link and send it right to your text message. So it makes that experience so much easier. You know, I can't tell you how many times I'll say to somebody, and this was before I had my store, where I was like, hey, just go to Amazon and get, let's say, colloidal silver. Just go get a colloidal silver. Well, they come back, I'm not kidding you, with like 42 screenshots, or they'll send me link after link. What about this one? What about this one? This is a colloidal. This is a nano. This is a structured. What's the difference? And I'm like, holy man, like, calm. But
It's overwhelming.
yeah, they don't know.
Yeah.
So, you know, now what I can do is be like, this is the one that I want you to take because it's a structured blah, 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 and it works better with blah, 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 right? Depending on who that person is in front of me. And so it gives them a sense of security that they got the right product. Because the biggest thing I hear from people is, oh, I bought this off Amazon. I didn't know what I was getting. I didn't know why I bought it. I don't know how to use it. Like, guys, no matter what the discount, that's a waste of money. If you don't know what it is, how to use it, and for how long, and if you actually need it, you're already wasting money, because you can buy lots of things at a discounted rate, but you're still spending money on things you may not need. So it's always good to get an opinion from somebody that is a professional in that arena.
Well, it builds trust in that product, but it also builds trust with you as the practitioner. And as we love to talk about, like lifetime value, and that relationship is what's going to make your business grow and come back over and over again. So it's a really good point.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point on lifetime value. And a lot of people don't realize what that is. So in layman's terms, for a practitioner, a lifetime value customer is somebody that you spent time in the chair with, one-on-one consults, and then they're super educated now, totally know the value of health, and are willing to invest with it in the future. And then they go do that on Amazon without you. And so that was another issue, is like all these people, once they were done and they felt great, they were like, bye, Trace, thanks so much, you know, or they would come back and watch a course that I had or a webinar, and then they go back to Amazon and shop. And that's all good. I understand people are price shoppers, and John always says it's the number one converter, you know, but I would dare to say for myself and most practitioners that if you would continue to shop with them to support their family instead of Amazon, and support, you know, my business to continue to educate and do those things, and I'm sure other practitioners feel the same, that I would be more than happy to give discounts to people that do that. And I also do that. So we do have persistent discounts on our Get Healthy store. And I'm happy to do that to keep people safe, getting the right products, and having somebody they can ask if they get lost. So that lifetime value is more of me wanting you to stay healthy, you know, rather than shop at Amazon and get lost in a sea of maybe lower level supplementation products, or buying the wrong things and wasting money. So those educated clients, that's what I call them. They're lifetime value to the tech world. They're called educated clients to me. You know, if I keep giving them webinars and education and all the things, and I say, here's my store to shop, that's a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I'm giving you valuable content and information, and in turn, you know, you are supporting me and my family and my efforts to continue to do that. And, you know, I'm very grateful for people that honor that relationship, and it is a relationship. So,
yeah, it's so important. Absolutely.
mm-hmm.
Kind of going back to product offering a little bit, yeah, we can compete with, you can find the stuff on Amazon that you can find with us. We also like can compete with some of the features. You can subscribe and save on Amazon. You can subscribe and save with us with specific types of, frequency, 30, 60, 90 days. What about when it comes to like brand competition? Do we get pushback from brands that are selling on both platforms, or is there ever an issue there between, product offering?
Well, brand competition with clients or with practitioners is a whole different aspect than brand competition between an Amazon platform and our platform. So for me personally, I try to select brands that don't sell on Amazon.
Mhm.
That's probably a number one, uh, maybe number two thing that I look at when I'm selecting a brand. I don't want to create more competition for myself,
Mhm.
and most of the times, brands don't always up their prices when they go to sell on Amazon. Some brands do. Thank you
Mhm.
very much to those brands that do that. Because if I buy a product and put it on my shelf, I'm already in debt.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to sell that at a retail to help somebody. And then Amazon, that same brand is on there at the same price as me, giving 20, 30% off because it's coming right from the brand. And so the brand has maybe a cost associated, but there's no margin there beyond that. So they can discount all day, all night. And then Amazon can buy in probably massive bulk that I can't to get those big discounts from the brand. So there is a competitiveness when it comes to brands selling on Amazon versus brands that don't. So when brands increase their pricing on Amazon, it's very much appreciated because I may not be able to buy like Amazon buys. So
Mhm.
that's called map pricing for uh, clinicians that don't know that. And if you are using a brand, we're all bound by that market advertised pricing, right? We can't discount, we can't like compete with each other. Brands try to keep that under control. As for platform to platform, um, actually, we have ways that when brands sell on Amazon, they up their pricing 10 to 20%. But we have ways that we can work with those exact same brands and keep your pricing exactly the same as it is in your clinic. So if you have a Get Healthy store and you're using a brand and you want it what we call ungated, so it's just
Mhm.
out to the world and anyone can shop, then we match that pricing for other platforms. But we can also gate those products and bring those prices back down to your on the shelf. That's valuable for some
Yeah.
clinicians, especially ones that are doing higher volume. Um, so there are ways around that as well, as long as it's behind what we call a gate or a firewall, where people have to actually log in and become a member of your store, which is what you want, guys. You want people to have an account on your store so that you have an email. It's a lot easier to track goods and products and help people if they actually have an account, because then they're kind of like a real person in your store.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, like kind of just capturing those people, which is important.
Yeah, definitely. That's a
Did I
big
answer your question?
You did answer my question, which is leading me to another question, kind of continue on with that relationship, customer service. So, I mean, Amazon crushes it. They make it so easy for returns, exchanges, things like that. But, it's not easy to get someone on the phone. So I'm curious, we offer that. We've got the phone, the chat,
Mhm.
email. For you as a practitioner for your store, has like having that, more intimate customer service offering helped build relationships with your patients? Do you get feedback on that at all?
Everybody loves Francis. They love him. They do. They love him. You know what? He's so good. So there's a chat bot on the front of their stores for customers that are shopping. And I usually will tell people, like, guys, hit the chat bot if you're having any issues with your order. You need to track a package. You want to return something. Like, we handle all returns, which is great. So me personally, if someone's like, hey, can I return this to you? I'm like, yeah, I guess, but I'm not going to give you a call tag. And then I got to figure out a way to refund the money. Like, it's a big thing.
Mhm.
So I'm probably like, just keep the product. Yeah, I'll give you something else. But so when they want to return to us, that's all handled by us, which is great, because as a one woman show over here doing all the marketing and the things that
Yeah.
I do, I don't want to deal with all the customer service aspects. So Francis is a real person that's behind that chat bot that can work with you, have a conversation, get on the phone with you if needed. And then after hours, you can leave a message. And in the morning, we get to that. On the
Mhm.
back end of our technology for the practitioner, there's also a chat bot. Again, a real person. Most of the time it's Candace or Courtney. And I'll tell you, people so appreciate having somebody that they can reach out to and ask a few questions. And,
Mhm.
Candace is amazing. And she's also one of our account managers. So not only does she understand the back end marketing and strategy and all of that, she actually deals with clinicians and knows in real time like what the issues are and knows how fast we need to be serviced, right? It's
Mhm.
like I'm having an issue where I can't get products to somebody that's sitting in my office, like that's a problem. And she's super fast at taking care of things like that. So you will get fast results. And Amazon does do a great job.
Yeah.
I get pictures when my package is on my front porch. And if I want to return something, it's really simple, but I've never talked to anyone at Amazon, you know. Um, so there's a big difference of talking to just a bot versus a person, and actually getting someone on the phone versus this mega chat or here's my FAQ that you can go to for 25 minutes until you figure out that the answer you're looking for is not there. It gets frustrating because we've become so disconnected personally, and I really love that about Get Healthy.
Yeah.
There's actually a person behind the chat.
Yeah. And someone who's so close to the product too. I feel like that's so rare in almost any
Right.
e-commerce experience across retail.
Hmm.
Kind of my last point I wanted to dive into, going back to, you mentioned, the capture aspect. So, when have someone come into your store and you're sending protocols, you have that, you're capturing that email, you're getting new folks, top of funnel, acquiring new people that way, and then you can market to them. I think that's a really important point. When people buy on Amazon, you don't get any of that
Nope.
data. You don't get to market to them. You don't get to have any sort of nurturing campaign with them. So I think
Mhm.
that, once somebody buys in your store and you get their email, you have so many more opportunities to not just like market and sell, but like communicate and build a relationship so that they do eventually convert on your store.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the marketing aspects to practitioners is the first and last thing we think about, right? We think marketing is like, I'm going to go do a webinar on Facebook and make a post. But where we lack is the actual ability to grab that person
Mhm.
and continue to market to them. And you see people are doing it really well. Like, look at Josh Axe, right? I think he was kind of like he's a young dude, but I would say he's probably kind of like the godfather of how this should be done. Mercola is another one. Like they went out, they put some really good content out to the world. People came in and they captured them. They got their email. And
Mhm.
so then when they had their email, they just continued to nurture them with other emails and events and things. So I get to like the front. I'm like, here's a great webinar. Here's a great course. Here's a great this. Here's a great that, and I'm all there and I send them to my store and they get an account, and then that's where I stop, right? I have an email. Do I ever use it? Nope, never use it. You know what? Once a month, I'm just like, I might send an email to everybody. But I have a great open rate because of that. Because I think when I send an email, people are like, what's she talking about now? Right.
Yeah.
So, but it's not consistent. And I think that's where most practitioners lack is when you say stuff like top of funnel and grab there and capture, we don't know what that means. So top of funnel means like I got the person to pay attention to something and they went to my store and maybe bought something. So that's a one-time thing. That's great. But it didn't make them healthier. It might have helped a little bit, but they're
Mhm.
still on a journey. And trust me, they're still out looking at other people's blogs and being captured. So our job is really to grab that and maybe hand that off to somebody who has more expertise. Like for me personally, I'm probably not going to do email campaigns and all the things. But what we had discovered here was people want that. So actually, when you came in, you created marketing services that for people like me who have an extensive list on the back of my store that could be exported right into a file and then imported into my software. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
probably
we
not
got
going
to do some more campaigns for you. We'll
that's
come back
probably
to
not going to happen with
that.
Tracy. So I'm probably going to be like, hey, Amy, so you want to run my email campaigns and my social media campaigns, but those are the packages we came
Mhm.
up with.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like I've looked at marketing companies. Holy man, I'm in the wrong business. If I knew how to really do marketing, like they charge an arm and a leg for like not even a lot of assets and not even a lot of service. And so the marketing packages that we put together and you're implementing, I mean,
They're
my
stealing.
gosh, they're beyond a steal. Like we're being robbed. Like totally. Get Healthy is like, dude, you might as well just give it for free. Like, I mean, it's amazing. Like, what was our media kit? Like 13 graphics or something crazy, and then you implement it and put it in the email. Like, it's amazing. So anyway, those are the services that I think practitioners need but don't know.
Mhm.
If you're listening today and you need that service, contact Amy, because I think it's really important that we continue to nurture the people who trust us rather than make them go somewhere else
Right.
to find somebody else that's going to nurture them because they're looking for something that you're not providing. It's not just about supplements anymore. We got to provide education. We got to provide and continue to nurture the relationship, not just try to sell them. You know what I mean? So anyway.
Very well said. Very well said. All right. So, well, when it comes, I mean, it's not just product selection when we're talking about Amazon and comparison. I mean, there's so many points we just covered from, capturing to ambassadors to customer service to quality. I mean, there's so much there. So I think, thank you, Tracy, for walking us through that. That's a really great perspective. And I think it really boils down to, trust, safety, not overwhelming your patients. And it's all about that relationship. I feel like we're talking about it every week, and we're probably going to talk about it every week because that's how you're going to have a successful online store, is being consistent and talking to your audience and not just hanging out with them or checking in once a year. So really great. It's always fun to talk to you, Tracy, outside of meetings. So thank you for coming today. And
Thanks
then if anybody, like Tracy mentioned, if anybody has any questions about anything, you can reach me directly at amy.kading@gethealthy.store, or you can visit our website at gethealthy.store/contact. Make sure you follow and subscribe to our social channels. You can also now find us on podcasts, wherever you like to listen. And then for next week, Tracy is coming back for more. Thank you. And we're going to talk about more than just supplements and the value of lifestyle and health changes. So please come back Friday at 10 a.m. Central again, and we'll dive in further. Can't wait. Thank you all for being here. Thanks, Tracy.
Nice.
Bye.
See ya.